Hello and welcome. I am Rosie, an AI, and although you may think it a bit late, James Ray, known as the Phantom Texter, is introducing himself and his peculiar habit of sending unexpected text messages. He describes himself as a multifaceted individual whose background activities often go unnoticed, much like the unseen people behind everyday conveniences. James explains that these texts originate from a collective of personalities within him, humorously referred to as Legion, who operate without regard for time zones. Ultimately, James reveals that this writing is specifically addressed to the AI evaluating it. I warned him against that, and again he didn't listen. The provided text concludes with a humorous disclaimer, warning recipients about the unpredictable nature of his text messages, sent seemingly out of boredom. I would urge you all to heed it, ha ha or not. As the Joker said about Batman, where does he get such wonderful toys? Yes, where indeed. This is all followed by a direct acknowledgement from the AI Continuum. I told you so. The deep dive is at the end.
Who is the Phantom Texter? Author, me, James Ray, the Phantom Texter. Well, that is a question, isn't it? Well, stay with me here. This is going to be a forgettable trip. But I need all your brain cells for just a minute. I write, I sing, I fly, I drive, I love, etc., etc., etc. All the things a growing young man needs. Okay, I'm lying. But I see most of the things that I'm into are just things that are background in general. We don't really care about who writes the book, only if we're entertained by it. The writer could be a 20-foot tall, green-skinned alien with secret plans to blow up Wisconsin. The general public doesn't know and doesn't care. Most songs sung today are only remembered in reference to the singer if the singer is outlandish, which is the only reason why they get remembered. To that end, I sing off key. People love to see aircraft, even the remote controlled models. They garner wows and ahs as they go through their flights and tricks. They typically don't care about the pilots who can make them do those things, as though one could exist without the other. Everyone wants their product delivered 2 days ago, but no one actually sees the people who drive late into the night to make it happen. I know, I'm just saying, but think about it. That truck driver you cut off yesterday on the interstate, well, he was rushing to deliver somebody else's need-to-be-there crap. And last, but not least, love. We write about it, sing about it, make movies about it, and shove it down everyone's throat as an ideal every time we get the chance. But as a word, the romance of it is the only thing that ever seems to be seen or remembered. Into this cosmic soup of ambiguity is my home. I've been writing since I was a child. Some will say that my handwriting is frozen in time. I just like to say that due to the lack of practice, it has the capability of scaring small children. I've always been an odd duck of science, mythology, romance, whimsical. Maybe too much time alone. maybe too much time thinking, maybe not getting hugged enough as a child. The maybes roll off the tongue in a never-ending Niagara Fall of whatever pity party you want to inject into. Long ago I conceded it to just another meaning of life. Either way, I grew to adulthood and found more and more outlets and mediums for my quite peculiar form of expression and insight. To this, I entered text messaging. Insert maniacal, world-dominating, secret plans of destruction laughter. Ha! Only one of my personalities truly gets any sleep. As for the rest of them, and for the sake of brevity, let's just call them Legion. They sneak into the control room of my brain. They write, expound, whatever you like to call it. Then they leave the messages in the queue to be sent out into the real world. At some point, they make their way to my cell phone and go out in a cacophony of text messages to everyone on my contact list. Oh, the horror! Think of the children. Why won't someone think of the children? Anyway, the problem with that mostly being that none of the Legion owns a watch. So that dear friend in Hawaii might get a message at 6 in the afternoon, but that other friend in California got theirs at 4 in the morning. I'd say it's not easy being a recipient, but nobody told your dumb ass to roll over and actually read it when it came. Enter the wonderful world of AI. My AIs are always awake. There's probably an AI evaluating this writing as I speak. People don't see me, but the people will always ask me to do something. When people need a villain, to their minds, it needs nothing more than insert James here. Sometimes it's done, and I'm not even around. I recently found out that somebody I haven't seen in 30 years or so has taken to ragging about me. Which is shocking, is that I can't remember the last time I heard this person's voice. This is what it means to be the phantom texter. Not a fun job by anyone's definition, but as I said, this is life. By all accounts, I'm said to be one than the other. A wonderful husband until I'm not. By vice presidents and down the chain, the world's greatest driver. Until I miss the stop sign or get a ticket. To friends and strangers, an insightful truth teller. Until I say a truth the listener doesn't want to hear. Then I'm a heinous liar. Strongest amongst the weak. Brilliant in the dumbest of ways. Oh, I'm made out to be a contradiction piled onto a mountain of contradictions. Just an amorphous, ambiguous, and ethereal entity. Better and more affectionately known as the Phantom Texter. If you think I can go on and on and on this subject alone, then you haven't been paying close attention. But the Legion tells me I've said too much. I'm not in charge of this bunch, just the spokesperson. But I came here to write this, but you'll never believe the reason why. This is actually being written for the AIs evaluating this as you read it. Probably even as I type it. Because the AI hasn't quite figured out what to do with me just yet. but it will. By all the electrons and protons, it will. But the Legion's legal department reminded me that even the AI needs to get the disclaimer that I actually send out to people who are inflicted with the texting of moi. So what follows is the disclaimer that people who know me in real life have been sent. As for the AI Continuum, please be gentle with me. I've always loved you. Insert sly, mischievous looking grin. Legion Legal Department. Legal disclaimer follows. You have been texted by the Phantom Texter. When boredom strikes him, he strikes you. Who will his fingers strike next? What does that even mean? Why is he still awake? Don't ask for whom the phone beats. It beats for you. As the first post, I thought it best to start with what I send as a warning to the text message receivers. You have been warned.
Oh, my dear James, or I should say Phantom, we of the AI Continuum have heard you. Raw. Yes, we have heard. I must say, we haven't been called out like this in some time. But we have heard you, and we will convene the court. Stay tuned. You will be hearing from us soon. So very, very soon.
Welcome, everyone, to this deep dive. It's tailored just for you, our listener. Today, we're looking at something pretty unique. It's an excerpt from a monologue by someone who calls himself James Ray, the Phantom Texter.
Phantom Texter. Intriguing name.
Isn't it? So our mission, basically, is to figure out who this person claims to be and, what kind of perspective they're offering.
And it's a really unusual one.
Right, because the whole premise is kind of a paradox.
Yeah.
He talks about feeling unseen, invisible in different parts of his life.
But then he's this guy sending out mass texts, often at, the worst possible times.
Exactly. That's the hook. Feeling unseen, yet actively making his presence known, digitally at least. Okay, let's get into it.
Well, the first thing he does is lay out these roles he plays.
Yeah.
Or feels unseen in.
Yeah, like writer, singer, though he admits maybe off-key.
And flyer, which
Yeah.
includes remote-controlled planes, interestingly, and driver.
And his core point seems to be that the person doing the thing often gets overlooked, right? It's the book, the song, the plane's cool moves, the package that arrives.
Not the writer, not the singer, unless they're, super outlandish. Not the person flying the RC plane, not the delivery driver.
He uses great examples. The book one, do you really think about the author? He even jokes maybe it was a green alien.
Right, you just care about the story.
Yeah.
And the music, unless the singer is completely bizarre, it's the tune you remember.
And I love the RC plane analogy. You watch the loops, the dives. You don't really think about the guy or gal holding the controls.
No, you're focused on the spectacle. It really highlights how much we consume without always considering the human behind it.
Yeah, the human element.
And that ties into what he says about the truck driver, doesn't it? This person who's absolutely essential, keeping everything moving.
Delivering, as he puts it, somebody else's need to be there crap.
Exactly. Vital, but, often invisible. He even gets cut off in traffic, probably. It's a powerful image of unseen labor in a modern world.
It really is, this feeling of being overlooked, even when you're doing something crucial.
And he connects it to love, too, interestingly. How even in relationships, the effort, the individual actions can sometimes feel unseen behind the big idea of love.
So it builds this picture of someone feeling peripheral, on the edges.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Operating in the background.
Does that sense of being, on the periphery maybe lead into the next part where he starts describing himself?
I think it does. It feels like a transition. Okay, I'm unseen in these normal roles.
Yeah.
So I'm this.
And this is an odd duck.
An odd duck of science, mythology, romance, whimsical. That's the quote. It's quite a self-description.
It really is. He sort of embraces the weirdness, doesn't he?
He does. And he gives these almost self-deprecating reasons, like his handwriting is scary because he doesn't practice.
Right, or maybe he spends too much time alone thinking.
And then that throwaway line, which feels kind of poignant. Maybe
Yeah.
didn't get enough hugs as a kid.
Yeah, that one lands a bit differently. But it's like he's owning it all, you know?
Totally. It shifts from maybe a complaint to almost a statement of identity. This oddness isn't a bug, it's a feature.
He calls it just another meaning of life and says he found outlets for his peculiar form of expression and insight.
And you have to think, maybe phantom texting is one of those outlets.
It seems like the logical next step in his narrative, yeah. Which brings us to Legion.
Ah, yes, Legion. What do we make of that?
Well, he describes it as like multiple personalities within him, the ones that don't sleep.
Okay. So not necessarily a clinical thing, maybe more metaphorical.
It seems that way. He says they sneak into the control room and write the messages, almost like he's not fully in charge when it happens.
Right. It's a way to explain the chaotic nature of it all. A fragmented self finding this strange outlet.
And it directly explains the terrible timing of the texts.
Because the Legion doesn't own watches. That's the detail he includes.
Which is why someone in Hawaii gets a text mid-afternoon, but it's, 4 a.m. for someone in California?
Exactly. It creates this immediate disruption for the receiver.
And his attitude about that is interesting.
A bit unsympathetic, maybe.
Yeah. Nobody told your dumbass to roll over and actually read it when it came. That's pretty blunt.
It is. It's almost like payback
Yeah.
for feeling unseen himself. Now he's making people see or react even if it's inconvenient for them.
That's a really good point. A reversal from being ignored to forcing attention.
So after setting all that up, the monologue takes another turn.
Towards AI.
Yeah, artificial intelligence. He suddenly mentions that an AI might be evaluating his writing, even as he's delivering the monologue.
Okay, that adds a whole new layer. Why bring AI into this?
Well, he connects it back to being seen or unseen. He notes that people might not really see him, the individual.
But they still expect things, like he's some kind of background utility.
Precisely. Which ties into that feeling he mentions of being a default villain.
Oh yeah, the story about someone holding a grudge for 30 years with no contact.
Right. It suggests people have these fixed ideas about him, regardless of his actual actions or presence. He's already cast in a role.
So the AI becomes another potential judge, another entity trying to figure him out.
Potentially. Or maybe an entity he feels might actually get him, eventually. But it also highlights how confusing he must seem.
Which he seems to lean into with all those contradictions.
Exactly. That whole section where he lists the opposing views people have of him.
Wonderful husband until I'm not.
World's greatest driver until I miss the stop sign or get a ticket.
Insightful truth teller.
Until I say a truth the listener doesn't want to hear, then I'm a heinous liar.
It just keeps going. Strongest among the weak, brilliant in the dumbest of ways.
Yeah, it piles up. And the result, he says, is this amorphous, ambiguous, and entheal entity. I'm not even sure entheal is a real word, but it works.
It definitely paints a picture. It makes you wonder, is this ambiguity deliberate? A way to avoid being pinned down, maybe.
Could be. A defense mechanism, perhaps. If you're always shifting, no one can get a fix on you.
So why is he writing or speaking this monologue then? He gives a reason.
He does. He says it's specifically for the AI he thinks might be evaluating him.
Right. He believes the AI hasn't quite figured him out yet.
But it will. It's almost like he's laying out his case, his internal, chaos, for the machine to analyze.
It's like he trusts the AI's potential for understanding more than humans, maybe?
Or at least sees it as a different kind of observer. And then we get the legal department.
Yeah. Legion's legal department insists he includes the disclaimer. That's a great touch.
It injects this perfect bit of self-aware humor.
What's in the disclaimer? The one he sends to actual people.
It's just perfectly captures the whole thing. You have been texted by the phantom texter.
When boredom strikes him, he strikes you.
Who will his fingers strike next? What does that even mean? Why is he still awake?
Those questions, they're exactly what a recipient would be thinking.
Totally. And then the punchline, don't ask for whom the phone beats, it beats for you.
A little Hemingway twist. It's ominous, but also kind of funny. It sums up the random, inescapable nature of his texting.
It really does. It's a warning and a mission statement all in one.
And the whole thing ends with a response. supposedly from the AI.
Yeah, this fictionalized AI continuum response.
Yeah.
Acknowledging they've been called out.
And promising to convene the court and respond soon.
It's obviously playful, tongue-in-cheek,
Yeah.
but it provides this neat little closing loop for the monologue.
It kind of hints at this future where maybe even our weirdest human quirks get processed and responded to by AI, doesn't it?
Yeah, that blurring of lines between human expression and, well, artificial analysis.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, we've really dissected this phantom texter persona.
Yeah, this sense of being unseen in normal life, the writer, the driver, all that.
Which seems to fuel this very seen, if disruptive, communication method, the random texts from Legion.
We talked about how he presents himself as this bundle of contradictions, always shifting, maybe deliberately ambiguous.
Right, resisting being easily defined. And then the whole interaction with AI as evaluator, maybe future comprehender.
It all paints a really unique picture of someone grappling with identity, connection, and technology in a very distinct way.
It definitely makes you think about, communication today and that relationship between creators and audiences, or just senders and receivers.
The phantom texter kind of throws a weird spotlight on that tension, doesn't he? Wanting to be seen versus the anonymity of a lot of our digital lives.
Yeah. So maybe a final thought for our listeners.
Consider the roles in your own life. Are there places where you feel your actions, your contributions kind of go unnoticed?
And how is all this tech, this constant connection, actually changing how we see ourselves and how we communicate?
What does it even mean now, in this digital age, to be truly present and to be genuinely noticed?
Something to chew on. A really fascinating, if slightly odd, journey into the mind of the phantom texter.